Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, 1980s or 1982's Erwin C. Dietrich's The Amorous Sisters, otherwise known as this title right here. The Amorous Sisters. The back of the Blu-ray says 1980, and on IMDb it says 1982, which could mean the release was 1982 and the film itself was copyrighted in 1980. But these films are very, very rare, very unknown. This is part of the Erwin C. Dietrich collection. This particular film includes Brigitte LaHaye, who is very popular sexploitation actress, and also Jane Baker, Flori Solier, and actually, if you look at my other reviews in this YouTube page for Erwin C. Dietrich's 6 Swedes films, there's a group of them, you will find a large group of the women in this film, if not, all of them in some ways. You will recognize them from the 6 Swedes films. And you will also recognize some of the male actors in this film from other Erwin C. Dietrich films, as well as some Jess Franco films that Erwin C. Dietrich produced. As a matter of fact, some of the actors and actresses that you will see in some of Jess Franco's films during the Erwin C. Dietrich period, some of those actors and actresses came from Erwin C. Dietrich, it seems. So let's look at this film, The Amorous Sisters. And this is the kind of the original real foreign title right there. And this is part of the Erwin C. Dietrich collection. This is a German region-free Blu-ray by Ascot Elite Home Entertainment. Very, very hard to find these Blu-rays. But I got this on diabolicdvd.com for, it's not cheap, but you're getting something rare, beautiful, and wonderful, and magical, and sexual, of course, which means the same thing as the other words that I just used. So let's get into this film here, The Amorous Sisters. This is an 80-minute movie. Let's go. This is a film involving 2 sisters who are at a kind of an all-girls college, and their sexual experiences and adventures with each other, with nature, being educated sexually also, with men, with the outside world, the inside world of their college. And then there was another story in the film involving a husband and a wife, and kind of the sexual frustration within that couple. Now, these 2 stories, while seemingly not related, do have a connection of sorts. Now, this is another example of a film where the sexual style is the substance. Okay, this is a film where the style is the narrative, the sex is the narrative. And if you know Erwin C. Dietrich's films, this is a film that shamelessly displays the sexuality and displays the sexual freedom in the camera, as the story, as the narrative, as the experience. It's an experience, an artistic, sexual, erotic experience. So let's get into this film right here, folks. First and foremost, we have another amazing score by let me make sure that I get his name correct. We have another amazing score by Walter Baumgartner. I just blanked on his name for a second. Walter Baumgartner. He's done tons of Erwin C. Dietrich films, and also a group of Jess Franco films as well. The score that he has in this film, the music pieces he has in this film, are nothing less than amazing. I've never heard any of these pieces before, as far as I know, and I've seen a ton of Erwin C. Dietrich films, and I've reviewed a ton on this page, so check them out. We have such variety and diversity of music from Walter in this film. Interestingly enough, we have some kind of some period pieces, we have some flutes, we have some kind of atmospheric flute playing, an atmospheric, almost Italian acoustic guitar playing. And then, of course, we have Walter Baumgartner's awesome, sultry, playful jazz pieces. There's one theme in the film, I believe it's in the menu screen when you pop the Blu-ray in, but there's one theme in the film that has some variations on that main theme. But that one piece of jazz, it has a power, a sexual power to it, a sexual energy to it. I've always thought that the style of jazz music just sweats sexuality. And Walter Baumgartner's music is just unbelievable in this film and so diverse. We have some real atmospheric pieces in here. We have jazz. We have we have some old school jazz, which almost sounds, and we have some period pieces, almost folk music. It's very, very interesting diversity. Now, the Baumgartner family is involved in this film. Director of photography, Peter Baumgartner. And also, interestingly enough, the script was by somebody named Michael Baumgartner. So very, very interesting. Now, Peter Baumgartner did do a lot of the cinematography for Dietrich's films. And Walter, I believe, was his dad who did the music. So, don't know who Michael was, but if you know, let me know. So, when we look at this, this is a film where sex is key, and this is a softcore sexploitation film that has some harder lesbian sex scenes in this film. And I say harder, really, it would be hard for the MPAA to rate this film. It's definitely well beyond R, maybe a tad bit X also, okay? But just within lesbian sequences, we have some real stuff going on, but we'll get more into that. So this is essentially, kind of a harder softcore sexploitation film, particularly with lesbian sequences. Now, when we look at the style of this movie, now we have wall-to-wall music in this film because we have wall-to-wall sexuality in this film and wall-to-wall sex scenes in this film. And as I stated previously, all the sex scenes seem simulated, except for some lesbian sequences, which are not simulated, but not totally into hardcore territory, if you catch my drift, maybe. And Dietrich does play around with that in-between world a lot in his films. Now, stylistically, I see a lot of things that Dietrich is very well known for. For example, his opening title credit sequence in this film is beautiful, lush, artistic, pretty. In this particular film, it deals with flowers. It deals, I believe, with lilacs and just beautiful bloomed flowers in the countryside. We have, kind of stone castles and stone homes and stone side streets. Really kind of an old looking town, mountains, a beautiful curved stone bridge over the water. Large mountains in the background. I don't know if this was Sweden or the Swiss Alps. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the atmosphere of Six Swedes in the Alps, which I've reviewed in this YouTube page as well. Beautiful atmosphere, beautiful architecture inside of these homes and these castles. We have these beautiful large white doors, a chandelier, beautiful artwork and paintings. As a matter of fact, thematically, this is a film that really deals with sexuality and its connections to the natural world and to art and literature. Very, very interesting. And then also scholastically with sex education as well. So we have a lot of different interesting kind of themes in here. The opening title sequence, whenever Erwin C. Dietrich's name gets popped up on there, it's just powerful sequence. In this case, it's powerfully beautiful and serene. And the budding flowers has a lot to do with the budding sexuality of the film. And flowers are referenced thematically later on in the film as well, between the girls. We also have a kind of a Dietrich thing where there's this lesbian sex scene with Brigitte Lahaye and this other girl, and there's, I forget her name. He kind of has this Vaseline over the camera, but in a cropped fashion. I've never really quite seen anybody do it like this before. I think I saw Franco do it, kind of a variation of it in Killer Barbies, which I reviewed on this page and I mention it. But it's very unique the way Dietrich does it, and then it's kind of to his own. and then he has obstructions in the camera that are out of focus. Typically, he'll use flowers. Like in this film, he uses flowers, and the flowers are in the scene, but they're so out of focus that you almost cannot recognize them, and they're so close up into the camera. So it's a very, very interesting and sweaty, Vaseline-y, hazy sexploitation haze vibe, but it's a really Erwin C. Dietrich has his own stamp on it. His camera also moves elegantly and rapidly at the same time, as the camera will start up here and then it'll kind of come down and move over here. He'll do stuff like that. It's very interesting. Of course, he's taking the lush scenery and the lush, natural world and flowers and all of such. Now, in terms of we have some great slow motion sequences in this film. Erwin C. Dietrich is known for his slow motion sequences. It can almost remind you of kind of art installations or music videos. And as I stated, the narrative logic of this film is sexuality, and is the female body, and is even the male body in some form or fashion. We have cases where things kind of go back and forth and don't follow a typical time scheme as well. In terms of the sexuality, we have full-blown nudity, full frontal for men and women, and yes, you were getting a lot of penis in this film, and even some bodybuilding penis at that. Erwin C. Dietrich does not shy away from the male body, but of course the female body is on #1 display. Now, everything seems simulated, but we do have sections of real female masturbation, female tongues getting pretty damn close to the labia there, and also an extremely explicit sex education class where we're really opening up the vagina. Also kind of touching penis, but not an erect penis, and we have some very gynecological shots in this film as well of vaginas and the girls' buttholes, vaginas from the back, butts, things like that. But we don't have anything inserting anywhere, but we do have vaginas spreading and some, as I said, female masturbation sequences in this film. I thought the whole cast was, all the girls were sexually attractive, and Jane Baker I love. She is in some Erwin C. Dietrich films, and I'll be looking at some of the other films she's in the future on this YouTube page from Dietrich. And we have a sex education class that is just really takes sex education to another level with actual living models and the class themselves, and a butterfly catching sequence. That Dietrich is known for these slow motion sequences of girls outside doing something and kind of jumping each one into the camera, and he will display each girl one at a time. Each female body one at a time will be on display. Of course, we have some kind of sex comedy shenanigans in the film as well, with guys and blindfolds, which Dietrich likes to do, and kind of a twist sexual ending involving the two the two stories and the connection between the two stories. We also have some incest in the film as well, as the film is called The Amorous Sisters. Yes, indeed. And if you're a fan of Brigitte Lahaye, of course you'll love her in anything. And this is it right here, folks. This is The Amorous Sisters, the Erwin C. Dietrich collection, 1980, 1982. Here it is, folks. What an awesome, awesome movie. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films like these that I think need to be talked about more. If you want to check out all the other reviews on this YouTube page of other movies and many more to come, if you want to check out my own personal films, just Google Apartment 1014 Films. Thank you so much, guys, and have a great night.